Duluth. Welcome to another episode of Conversations with Council. I'm Jessica Bianchi. I work in economic development for the city of Duluth. On today's episode, we're diving into an important discussion on school safety. With recent incidents like the Apalachee High School shooting in Barrow County highlighting the need for increased precautions in our schools, we're talking to experts to see what steps are taken to ensure our students' safety. Joining me to speak more on this topic is Councilmember Jamin Harkness, Duluth Police Chief Jacquelyn Carruth, and Chief Tony Lockard of the Gwinnett County Public Schools Police Department. Let's start with Chief Carruth and Chief Lockard. What do officers of the Duluth Police Department and Gwinnett County Public Schools Police Department do to help protect our students?
One of the things we do is we try to engage with the youth in our community. We do that by, having a close relationship with school staff and the students at the school. We try to remain visible in the community. That's one way. And Chief Lockard?
Yes, we have an amazing relationship with the City of Duluth and Duluth Police Department, and always want to engage with them. So our officers, our school resource officers, what we want them to do is be engaging with the students, not just from a mere presence in the hallways, but also from mentoring. We want our officers to mentor students. We want them to be engaging with teaching classes, and not just from like a high school level, even elementary school level, middle school, and so forth. Being in the elementary schools, reading to the students ahead of time and so forth, and building those relationships so if there is something going on in the school, our officers have that ability to engage with the students in a one-on-one perspective and not just, say, from a law enforcement component.
Interesting. Chief Lockard, how can students protect themselves both at school and in their daily lives? Are there strategies or behaviors they need to adopt?
Yeah, great question, Jessica. One thing that we always say for protecting the school, because what we want to do is leverage our students and our faculty and staff, basically a force multiplier, where if you see something, you say something. At Gwinnett County Public Schools, we have an app-based tip line. If you go to the App Store, it's called GCPS Tips. Anyone can download that app. It could be a student, a staff member, a parent, a community member, someone in Florida can download the app. And again, it's a way of helping protect themselves, protect their school, because they're a key component in helping protect our schools. There's only so much faculty and staff at the school that are knowledgeable, but then a lot of having conversations with your parent and so forth if there's some concern in regards to the safety at school.
Very good. Chief Carruth, what is the biggest challenge you face when it comes to ensuring student safety, and how are you addressing this challenge?
I think one of the biggest challenges is that we need to create relationships with the youth in our community by just interacting with the students, and sometimes that's challenging. A lot of times we don't we interact with them the first time. It will be like a domestic situation at their home or things like that. So we really make an effort to go out in the community and create those positive relationships when we can, so that the students and the young people in our community feel comfortable in expressing things to police. They have to feel comfortable that, okay, I'm going to tell somebody that this is going on, and then we can go from there. It's you'll see us out here in Duluth, you'll see us out in the community. We don't want to just be in the schools when something bad is happening or when an emergency is happening. So our officers really make an effort to go out there. In fact, we just recently started our canine program up again. We have Officer Bustamante and our canine Maverick. And so that's, we start at a young age. That's a perfect reason to go in the schools. He takes the dog, into the schools, and children immediately feel comfortable, and they will, go up and speak to the officer and pet the dog and things like that. And I think it's so important that at an early age, we create that relationship where they feel, they feel comfortable telling us what's going on. We can't, the police here in Duluth, we can't be everywhere all at once. And so I think the safety of the community is definitely a collaborative effort. It takes parents, it takes students, and it takes police, all of us together, to ensure that the community is safe. But you have to create those relationships, and you have to feel comfortable speaking with your police officers.
So I've witnessed this. I did some ride-alongs with the police, and I have witnessed some of your officers just sitting there with them. I was at a red light with them, and a car pulled up and rolled down the window, and immediately the officer, rolled down his window. I believe it was Officer Parrish, and it was just a citizen just asking a question about a law. And then, having a kid here in the school, there's 2 schools right here, right here. And after school, this is our beautiful town green, and the kids come here. And I watch your officers come out and engage with the students, not police the students or anything, but they know them by name. I see your officers high-fiving them, and I appreciate that.
Well, thank you. One of the things I wanted to add on to that is that community policing, we do have a community engagement unit, but I've always said to all of the officers, I task them, each of them, with being, having the responsibility of community-oriented policing. It's everyone's responsibility. Any interaction that you have with the public as an officer, first of all, we have outstanding officers, and that doesn't surprise me what you said, that they roll down the window to talk to the kids, but every officer at this agency, no matter what kind of interaction that they are having with the public, it's that opportunity to create that positive experience. And so they all know that, and our officers here, they're dedicated and they love the city, and one of their favorite things to do is interact with kids.
It also helps that you have a pretty cool X account, a Twitter X account, and I think is it Officer Sadowski runs it?
Yes.
It's fun, and every time I see a new posting, I see a few people that I know and some high schoolers, including my own son, who's liking the post. I think that's important.
That's neat.
Chief Lockard, in cases where students make a violent threat to school, such as threatening to shoot up a school, how are those threats handled, and what procedures are followed?
Yeah, so coming off of the horrific event out at Apalachee, and we also experienced it with Uvalde, coming off those type of situations, we will a lot of times get inundated with threats, be it social media posts. So if there's a social media post that someone puts on Instagram, a picture of a gun, and they say something, I'm going to shoot up Duluth High School tomorrow morning, or don't come to Duluth High School tomorrow morning. So a couple things start to progress right there. What we do is we have evening watch officers that work from 3 until midnight, so immediately we'll start investigating that. If that means filing a emergency disclosure request with Instagram, so we can start finding out who posted it and so forth, we'll start working that on the background. If we're able to get a direct correlation, like an IP address or an address where it's associated with, then what we will do is we'll have officers go out to that residence, and it could be at midnight or 2 in the morning, and make contact with the parents and the student and ask them, okay, you made this post, or the post is coming from this residence and so forth. We'll ask questions, are there any weapons in the house? And once again, parents can own weapons and so forth, but are the weapons secure? Are they in a gun safe, and trigger locks are on the weapons, stuff like that. Those are questions we want to ask. And a parent may say, yes, I have a pistol. Okay, where's it at? It's in the safe. If you can do me a favor, go to the safe right now and confirm that it is in there. Because we've even had those instances where a parent will say, yes, I have a gun and it's in our gun safe. And then the parent will go look in the gun safe and it's not there. So we want them to visually confirm that it is there in the resident and so forth, and it is secure. And then what we'll continue to do, we'll reach out to our partners if we need assistance the next morning to make sure our schools are going to be safe, ready to accept the students at arrival time. We could reach out to Duluth Police Department. Hey, Chief Carruth, we had this happen last night. If you have some extra patrols that can drive through the campus or walk around the campus, that would be greatly appreciated.
Okay, very interesting. Chief Carruth, what are some effective strategies in preventing violence among students?
I think, as I said earlier, I think it is a collaborative effort between parents, students at the school, and police. To me, I think that it starts at home. Parents need to be aware of what is going on with their kids. They need to pay attention. They need to be sure they know what their children are doing on their phones. Make sure they're not, doing anything inappropriate. Just, be involved. And parents need to have an open line of communication with their kids. Like, ask them what's going on, and don't just assume that they, especially online, don't just assume that they know about the dangers that are out there, or that they are aware of the consequences of their actions, because oftentimes they aren't. And for students or young people in or out of school, just paying attention to your surroundings, or and reporting things that look suspicious, or we had a couple of those incidents this week at the schools where somebody saw something at a bus stop and they reported it right away. And that's so important. And that's like what I was talking about earlier, like the relationship, where they felt comfortable telling their SROs, or telling someone about something dangerous that they saw. So it's important, in that respect. And again, like I mentioned earlier with police, they have to feel comfortable expressing to us what is going on, so we can handle the situation. We don't, like I said, we can't be everywhere all at once, so it's important that we're told about that kind of information. I know Chief Lockard said, mentioned working with between school police and city police, and that's so important. And we get tips from all different kind of ways. They don't just come into the school resource officers. We get them on our Facebook page. And perfect example was this week, early this week, a parent sent a message to us on our Facebook page about somebody threatening violence, or I think it was a picture of a gun or something. And so I reached out to Tony, and he's like, I'm already on it. We got it. So they had gotten it too. So it's important to collaborate and stay in touch in those ways. And I think here in Gwinnett County, we have a great relationship with, school police and city police, and I feel fortunate for that.
Yeah, and to piggyback on what, Chief Carruth said, the relationship amongst the law enforcement agencies in Gwinnett County is phenomenal. It is, we meet once a month, all the police departments, the chiefs and the command staff, will meet, and we'll exchange ideas or any areas of concern that are going on and so forth. And exactly after Apalachee, I sent a text message out to the group, to the city police chiefs, and also Gwinnett County and Gwinnett County Sheriff's Department, asking for added patrols. And the response was immediate. Yes, we'll increase our patrols at the schools in our jurisdiction. And it wasn't just a one-off, because it happened right after Uvalde too. I sent a text message out to the entire group, to all the chiefs in Gwinnett County, hey, can we get added patrols? And the response is immediate. And I can say this, you don't get that in every county.
Very good. Sounds like just the involvement of parents and then the communication between the police department, it seems that you guys are very well informed. Chief Carruth, are there any plans or protocols in place for responding to a school shooting if it were to happen in our city? And how are these plans communicated and practiced by both the students and the staff?
Yes, we do regular training exercises on how to respond to an active shooter. We actually, just this past week, we were in the city schools here in Duluth doing the lockdown drills with the staff at the schools, and we do that regularly. It's important to note that we don't, that's just not a once in a while thing. We actually do those regularly, and we're in great communication with the school staff and the school resource officers. We do that, and then we also here in the city, we're our police department, we're big on training. So we actually do a lot of active shooter training. In fact, last week, there is a business in the city that allowed us to use their building to do building clearing and active shooter training. And so it's continuous. The training is continuous. We don't, we do it several times a year, and we make sure that the training is updated. And another thing we do here in the city that probably some people don't know about is that we offer to go into different businesses. They will ask us occasionally, and they say, hey, how can we better prepare ourselves for these active shooter situations? It's terrible that at this day and age we have to think about that, but it's reality. And so we'll go in and we kind of point out the areas of vulnerability maybe that their office has, and what we think they could do to improve safety. And that's, if you live here in the city, that's a totally free service that we offer, because it also helps us to go in and know the layout of the building and things like that. And same thing with the schools. When we go in the schools, it helps the officers familiarize themselves with the the school layouts. And we also have technology where if an officer is responding to, or our officers are responding to a school, attached to some of the data in their computer are maps of most of the schools. So they're not going in blind, but like I said, we often visit our schools anyway, so the officers kind of know the layout anyway. We visit it in times of, just to say, hey, how are the kids doing, and how is everything going? So we do train an awful lot, and we do communicate with school staff and the students. Just last week, actually.
Very cool. Very cool. So Jamin, as both a council member and a parent, what concerns do you personally have about school safety, and how do those concerns inform you in your role with the city?
I ran for city council because I love this city, and I want to be a model for my son and for my neighbors. I care about this city. When I heard about Apalachee, when I hear about these things, my heart sinks. And I'm happy to have a relationship with such a strong and robust police department in Duluth that I have confidence. I know that I don't have to pick up the phone and call chief. I can pick up the phone and call the police department, and they will answer me. One of my concerns is if something like that does happen here, I don't quite know, and maybe this is the right forum to ask chief or chief, what should a parent do? I don't want to get in the way, and I also want to protect my child. What do you do when there's an active situation?
Yeah, and Jamin, if I can just take it maybe like a step back. So one thing that happened right after Apalachee, we got inundated with tips coming into us. And we do want tips to come in, but the most important thing, if you hear about something that's about to happen, like I heard there's going to be a shooting tomorrow at Coleman Middle School. Don't necessarily share that information with all of your friends. The first call needs to be to police or to 911 or a tip line, and let them know, hey, I've heard this, because what can really slow down resource response is misinformation. And we saw that coming off of Apalachee. There was misinformation out there, and it pulled a lot of our resources and so forth. So the big thing, if there is a incident at a school, one thing that will really hurt our resources is vehicle congestion. And we saw that off of Apalachee. There was a lot of vehicles blocking the roads, the thoroughfares, and so forth, and emergency equipment had a hard time getting in. Fire trucks, ambulance, first responders, parents were and granted, they were scared for their children, rightfully so, but we had parents that were they had parents that were just parking their cars in the middle of the road and abandoning them. So that creates a lot of traffic congestion and so forth. Inside Gwinnett County Public Schools, we do have a communication database where if there is an incident and we're going to a off-site reunification location, a message will be sent out through the school to all the parents and the contact saying, hey, the school is, Coleman Middle School is being evacuated and the students are being transported to a reunification site. And then also parents will get a notification saying, your son Tony is on the bus going to the reunification site. And then once they're at the reunification site, you being a parent will receive a message again, your son Tony is at the reunification site. Because we found that type of communication, it's going to bring down a parent's anxiety level where as long as I know, once again, being a parent and a grandparent, if I know my child is safe and they're on the bus, my anxiety level is going to come down. If I know my child is now at the reunification site, my anxiety level is going to come down again also. So we ask parents for that, controlling the misinformation. If you get information about an incident, reach out to, be it City of Duluth Police Department, call 911, call Gwinnett County School Police, and we'll immediately begin looking into it.
I know, as a parent, I use the Parent Square app,
Yes.
and it is immediate. I appreciate that even the day before there's going to be a drill at the school, I'm notified that there's going to be a drill tomorrow, just to let you know.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. You know, I have another couple of questions, for both of you too. What can we do as parents, to keep our schools, safer? How can we be participatory, aside from not spreading misinformation if you get a tip and going directly to the police? How can we help and make sure that we're doing our part?
Yeah, good question. The big thing, and Chief Carruth talked about it earlier, parents need to be engaging with their children. They need to be aware what social media platforms they're on. Do not be afraid to look at their social media and look to see what's being posted and so forth. And that can go not just to the school, but also in the community on weekends and so forth. And one thing that I do say to parents, if my son Tony says, oh, I'm going to go hang out with my friend Mark, parents need to know who Mark is. You need to have direct contact with Mark's parents so the parents can communicate with each other. And, me being a parent, hey, Mr. Mark, Tony's coming over to your house this weekend to spend the night Friday night, and Mark's parents may say, no, he's not coming over. I thought he was going over to your house. So maintaining that communication between parents, being aware of what your children are doing and having those open conversations about things that are going on in society and in the community right now.
All right, so I may be going a little bit off script, but this is a question that I am I'm having with some of my friends that are also parents too, and it's been in my mind. Even last night I was asking this question too. Are metal detectors an option? Is that where we're at? Because I would feel better about it. I mean, talk to me about that. Are metal detectors an option or consideration?
Yeah, so when we look at school safety, we look at a multi-layered effect. No one product is going to solve all the issues. And what we see coming off of Apalachee, Uvalde, and so forth, a lot of vendors will start coming out and saying, this product is going to save, all your, is going to handle all your problems and all your issues. In us, we have a responsibility, and the same with Chief Carruth, with vendors that come and say, you need this product or this technology, that we vet that technology and that product and make sure it's a viable product and it's a good option, because we are spending taxpayer money. So we have to make sure we're not just willy-nilly going out there and just buying products. So what we look at, and it's a continual process, we don't do it just after an incident like this happens. We're continually looking what can we do to enhance school safety? Be it from a personnel standpoint, is that adding more school resource officers, collaborating with our partners like Duluth Police Department more, and then technology. What kind of technology can we employ? Is it some type of AI software to put on the cameras? And then physical enhancements. You've seen at our schools, we now have the vestibules, the double layer set of doors that, you buzz the doorbell to be allowed access, and they're going to ask you your intent for coming to the school, and then you enter into that first set of vestibule doors. If you're just there to check out your son for a doctor's appointment, we're going to say, sir, just wait right there. There's no need for you to come into the interior of the building. If you're there for a meeting with the principal or administration, then yes, then you'll be granted access in there and so forth. So again, it's metal detectors. We are exploring metal detectors and the feasibility of it. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that has to happen. If I think of Duluth High School, how many entrances and exits there are that students go in and out of the building. So you have to think also, are these metal detectors, are they going to be staffed during the entire school day? And then while class change, students going in and out of the building and so forth. So there's a lot of behind the scenes things that we have to look at also.
It's nice to hear that it's I guess what you were talking about with the drills, that you're not just responding, that there's a plan that's coordinated and it's done year round, and it has been happening year round.
And I think, as far as the school drills go, I wanted to say that I think the staff and students really take it seriously. It's not fun time. We found, when our officers are in there working, going through those drills, they're taking it seriously, which is a good thing.
Yes.
Well, Jamin, how does our local government plan to work with the schools and local law enforcement to prepare a comprehensive plan to prevent and respond to school shootings?
I think that the best way to answer that is the support that we have for the police department. I believe that I don't know another city in Gwinnett County or any that I know of that has as strong of a support for our police department. We have a very capable and I keep using the word robust police department that that we lean on. We lean on them. They're proactive, and I think that's the best answer.
Yeah, absolutely. So how can the community then best support the efforts by our local law enforcement?
I think what Chief Carruth said, what her officers are doing, staying in touch, being in communicating with our students, with our parents, I think it has to be reciprocal. We have to also be engaged. I think social media is one of the best ways to do that. Pay attention. I know there's the Citizens, the Citizens Police Academy that's available in English and Spanish as well. But I think to be communicating, I feel better when there's an incident. The first thing I do is I go look, at social media, and I know there's going to be something there. It always is. And so I feel better knowing that they are on top of it immediately.
Very good. And lastly, Chief Carruth, with the town green being a popular spot with minors or students after school, often unsupervised, what are some steps that they can take to ensure, what are you doing to help keep this area safe, and what are steps that the students can take to also ensure a safe community?
Yes. So what we have down here are we have a downtown patrol officer that is always stationed down here or in our park. So especially when the school's let out, there is a large amount of students that come here from the middle school and the high school at different times, and we welcome that. So the officer is here at all times, but we also ask that the students that come here respect the rules of the town green and the parks here. If you come here, we want everyone to be safe. We want everybody to have a good time, and that includes the people who aren't coming from the school, who are going to the businesses and restaurants here. So we just ask that they, respect the park rules, and like the liaisons, the downtown liaisons are out here trying to kind of guide the students into what is proper behavior, and most of them, the majority of the people that come here follow the rules, so that's good. We also have our camera system here downtown, so it's, as far as this area goes, it is very safe. But we do, have those cameras in case something happens. We can go back and look at it, or we also have camera operators that are always watching. So that adds an extra element of security down here. And again, like I always say, if the students or anybody visiting the downtown area sees something suspicious, don't be afraid to walk up to that downtown officer or any police officer that you see, or a liaison that, that works here in the city, and just don't be afraid to say, hey, this doesn't look right. We want to create that relationship where they feel comfortable enough, where they're not, afraid to express something or see what's going on. We do have a downtown officer here, but they, this is quite a big area. They can't see everything all at one time, and just, just use common sense when it comes to, following the rules and what you're seeing out there.
I think that the common theme with everything is almost just communication. Citizens communicating with the police officers communicating with the citizens, our SROs communicating with students, parents communicating with the school police department, and back and forth. The app. Police departments communicating, because it again goes to see something, say something, that we're all in this together. You know, everyone wants a safe area to live, a safe area to, you know, have recreation at, like your town center here, a safe school to go to, and we're all part of the solution, and we don't want to be siloed. Well, that's City of Duluth, they'll handle their thing. We're the school police, we'll handle our thing. You know, City Council, they do theirs, and so forth. We're all intertwined, and it's a matter of, you know, everyone, I commonly say this, we're all in the same boat. Pick up a paddle and start rowing. As long as we're rowing in the same direction, we're all in the same boat. Pick up a paddle and start rowing.
Chief, what is that app that you gave at the beginning of this conversation again for tips?
Yes, thank you, Jamin. It is, if you go to the App Store, it's GCPS Tips, and you can download the app. We have it in 20 different languages because we know Gwinnett County is such a diverse county. So if someone submits a tip, it goes to our dispatch center, which is staffed 24/7, 365. Our dispatchers can engage with the tipster. It can remain anonymous. They can tell us who they are if they want. They can download videos, pictures to that tip and so forth.
Thank you, Chief Carruth, Chief Lockard, and Jamin for your valuable insights. It's clear that ensuring school safety is a multifaceted approach, from community involvement and clear communication. For our viewers, we hope this discussion has helped you have a clearer understanding of the steps being taken to ensure our students' safety and the steps that the community can be involved to make sure we have a safe and wonderful community to live in. Thank you for joining us. This has been another episode of Conversations with Council.